Government contracting is complicated, but it really doesn't have to be. You don't know what you don't know, so be in the know. Join us for the Deltek GovCon coffee show, where industry thought leaders discuss all things government contracting, with your hosts Elizabeth Jimenez and Wolf Thiers. Good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
Can we just cheers?
Absolutely.
Because it's a really nice, beautiful day outside, and oh yes. And we have a most excellent guest today.
Yes.
We have Alex Granados from Prescient Edge. I'm so excited.
Thank you for the
Great.
invite.
Yes. So I can't wait to get started and just to kind of hear a little bit about your background, and you can tell us a little bit about where you're coming from.
Awesome. Again, Alex Granados. Went to one of the best schools in the world. I went to the Air Force Academy undergrad, went to GW. I was an Air Force officer, and back to what we're discussing here, my first job as a second lieutenant was a contracting officer.
Oh, wow.
So I think that helped out a lot. After getting out of the Air Force, I grew up at CACI, so I spent around 11 years at CACI doing a lot of professional services work, and in 2017, I bought Prescient Edge, and here we are. And then Prescient Edge divided into two main areas. We have an intel group where we provide intel analysis support to all the major IC organizations, so intelligence community organizations. And then we have an RD&E group that provides a lot of research development engineering work to the Army, to the Navy, to the Air Force, Coast Guard, and CBP. Those are our primary groups that we support. So around 250 employees today.
Yeah. Now I know a lot of government contractors start out as subs, you know, to primes, but understand you're pretty much a prime contractor through and through, right?
Yeah, so we're 98% prime contracts, which is great because what that does in this city, it allows you to really decide your future. Mm-hmm. You don't have to look at somebody to tell you, hey, look, well, your contract's over, or your rate has to be this. Whatever you sign up with on that prime contract is what you have to live with, and that's how you have to move forward. We are trying to expand our subcontract footprint for more capabilities, for exposure to different clients, but today primarily all prime work.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, and so, you know, you use the Deltek products through really extensively in Prescient Edge, don't you?
We do. So our CFO is amazing, understands the product really well, and so we use everything from HR to recruiting. So we use the talent portion of Deltek. That then, from what my CFO tells me, is that it integrates really well with CostPoint, and then we use CostPoint through and through. Program management, project management, cost, subcontract management, contract management, POs, and even payroll. So we no longer have a payroll organization. We do our own payroll, which also fits in. So for us, it does work fairly well. We also use the GovCon tool for our business development team.
Yeah, that's great. You can keep everything in-house and not having to worry about multiple vendors and outsourcing certain parts like payroll or anything like that. You get to control that in-house, don't you?
I don't.
Well,
CFO. Not that outsourcing is not a good thing, because we love outsourcing here, so that's totally acceptable. But I mean, you have such a unique story. Like, you went ahead and bought the company in 2017, and by the way, thank you so much for your service. That's amazing. Tell us a little bit about your experience with growing the company, like when you kind of turned things around, or just let us know like how you really thought like a Titan and you were kind of growing things ahead.
So big picture. So when I purchased Prescient Edge, we're around $300,000. This was middle of 2017, and what I learned as a contracting officer, what I learned at CACI for many years, growing a P&L at CACI, I took all those lessons learned and brought them in here. And one of the key things that I did at the beginning was ensuring that we had a very strong back office. Again, for my first big hire was a CFO, a real CFO, somebody who understood this world, not somebody who who was going to go help me buy 10 different companies, but somebody who understood government contracts. So that was my first thing. And also understanding the government. So back to your question. So the first things that we did was, good business development, good writers, good capture, and good program managers that could help me continue to expand in those areas that we already had a footprint in. At that point, we had a footprint in the Intel world, and we had a footprint in the RD&E world. So how did we extend through those?
And that's a great point, because it's not just the quality that you put in front of the customer, not just those Intel analysts or installation specialists, but it's really the back office that supports it that really enables them to do their job effectively and deliver on the contracts.
And that's exactly, right to that point where you do, for example, in the intelligence world, you need to bring very good analysts to the table. But you can't find those analysts if you don't have good recruiters.
Right.
And then you could outsource recruiting, or you could do it internally. One of the things that we've done pretty much with our entire back office, I've taken an approach where I want individuals that I could teach what this world is about, and not somebody that comes taught. So our recruiters, so we have four full-time recruiters. None of them have ever recruited in their lives.
Oh, wow.
I said, hey, do you guys want to come hustle, learn about this world? And they did that. But we've done the exact same thing with finance, with HR, with operations. We've grown individuals from bottom up. A huge success story is our entire business development team. Outside of our head of growth, everybody else just coming out of college, very, very hard. I would not get hired at Prescient Edge today. As hard as their process is. But they're phenomenal critical thinkers, writers that want to understand different things every single day. And that's why they're able to bring a different approach to actually writing a proposal when the government puts out a solicitation. So that's helped us out a lot. And then also understanding what really happens on the other side. And that was my forte as a contract officer. I was a source selector. I did thousands of source selections. So I understand exactly what happens. A lot of people think they know. A lot of people sat in one source selection. They know exactly what the government is doing. Well, if you go through a lot of these, you understand, hey, look, there is no science behind this. It's you write to what they're asking you, and then you move forward. But you have to be creative. So that's what we've been creative in all, back to your question, in the entire back office process, to ensure that we could scale up and succeed.
Yeah, that's really great that your background as a contracting officer has helped you get that inside understanding. Because there are a lot of people out there that think they understand government contracting world, but you have that unique perspective of having been on the other side and awarding those contracts and saying, I'm picking this contractor over that contractor. So you kind of understand that thought process.
Yeah, and then also bringing into account my experience at CACI.
Right.
You could never, I'll never forget, that's where I learned and understand the good and the bads and the capture process and the business development process and the operations process. What were those things that helped organizations scale? What things that didn't? BD wise, what were the things that were really good? What were the things that were not good? So taking those lessons learned and actually putting it into practice have really allowed us to continue to grow.
I really liked what you were saying about kind of taking the kids right out of school. I probably shouldn't say kids, but you know what I mean. And just like teaching them really from the ground up. I mean, what incredible strategy that is, just to kind of bring them out, give them the skills they need, help them grow kind of with your methodology, your concept, so that they really can kind of make a career out of that. That's amazing.
It is, but it's very tasking as well on my leadership, and I know it. And it's also it's an investment you're making. And then kind of what I tell my team every day is my goal is to ensure or to hopefully see these individuals be the next group of executives in the GovCon community. That would be like, okay, I hit a home run. That would be it. But it takes a lot of training, the right training. So you have spending dollars, overhead dollars that sometimes you're like, okay, maybe I want to use this somewhere else. But we have seen how the benefit and how fruitful that has been. So we continue to invest in them. And sometimes it's worked 80%. There's 20% of individuals that they stick around for a little bit and then they leave, and that's okay. Because no job is forever. And at least you could take whatever, they gain something. If we have a win-win culture at the office where the individual has to win first every single day. And then if they win, then the client wins. And then at the end, Prescient Edge and I win. So if they do that, and even if it's for a year or less, but if they won something, then that means that somehow the organization won as well. So
that's excellent. And looking at that and saying, they could go out into the GovCon community and be able to be leaders within it. Thinking about the GovCon community, how important is networking and the connection between you and other businesses within GovCon?
I'll tell you, it's paramount. I think that's one of the main reasons why I have been so successful in this industry is I'm always out there. And always out there to understand first what's going on in the market, what's going on with my competitors, with my friends, what's going on within the government itself, because you could get trapped in your own little bubble and you see the same thing over and over and over again. I had a boss once who said, and again, for a contract officer, for example, a contract officer can have 20 years of experience, but 1 year times 20. So they don't see anything else. They're in one office and they only do that one thing over and over and over again. But if you're out there networking, you see so many different things. The other thing with networking is, a lot of people get discouraged with networking in the fact that sometimes you'll go out and you're like, man, this was a waste. I just spent 3 hours. Yes, it was good. I was drinking either good bourbon or good beer, or I had a good steak. Right. But at the end, nothing really happened.
Unfortunately, we only have coffee this morning.
But in reality, what I've seen is that, out of 10, one will be so beneficial that you're like, okay, you need to continue to come back to this. And so it's the long game.
Right.
And this is the other big thing within, back to, the networking in this city, in this industry, it's the long game.
Yeah. That's so important though, saying the long game, because I think a lot of people expect immediate, just immediate success. Like I'm gonna go out and network, I'm gonna, close these deals. And it is an investment, right? Your time is an investment when you're networking, and you really need to put yourself out there. And that's really like an entrepreneurial spirit. So.
That's exactly it. It's, a lot of people say, companies go and come, contracts go and come, but the people and your integrity are always going to be there. And if you're out there, people know you. You could be in this business for a long time, and it's a very fruitful business if you do it the right way. Another big thing I always tell my team is you could either try to eat the entire apple, or just take one good bite, savor it, and can continue to move forward.
Right.
Because there's 1,000 millions of apples out there. Just be smart. That one apple is not just to be eaten at once, because a lot of people that just try to take in that entire apple lose the long game.
Right. So. Now you obviously have a large company experience with CACI. Prescient Edge is not a large company at this point.
No.
But and that seems to be the goal. And it also seems that you've got a good mentality or good approach towards becoming a large company. And do you think that's really important for other small companies out there, that they get themselves out of I'm just a small company and start 100%. Thinking bigger? That
you have to think big from day one if you want to. And again, but it all depends what you want in life. There's a lot of colleagues that they truly want a good, sizable lifestyle business where they don't want to grow over a certain size. They want to continue to invest and grow in very small areas, and they don't want to grow outside of somewhere where they have to go above and beyond. And that's okay. But even with that, to do that effectively, you do also have to think and have those basic needs to continue to feed your company, and which is back to solid finance, solid accounting, solid HR, solid recruiting, and solid operations.
Absolutely.
I mean, you have it all figured out. So, looking ahead?
Trust me, all these white hairs, and you talk to my wife and my kids, There's no figuring out.
Well,
No
it's working,
sleep.
right? It's working. What you're doing is working because you are like $48 million company, and it's only been, what, 4 years? I mean, that's amazing. So what's in store for the next, like, 4 years? Where do you want for things to go?
So right now we're again continuing to have we're transitioning to have more phone open contracts, which is again the evolvement. There is no science, so you just have to continue to do that. We're trying to win more phone open competitions to continue to grow within that world. We're going after larger opportunities, so we are going head to head with the larger organizations in the area. So, you know, in a perfect world, we'll be at around $150 million in the next couple of years, or bigger, and continue to expand.
I love that, thinking big, right?
Absolutely.
I think
You
that's
have to.
amazing. I know you do.
You gotta think big.
That's great. Well,
Go
so
big or go home.
Yeah.
go big or go,
Go big or go
home.
home.
I liked that you said like 150 million in the next couple of years. Like that's 2 years. So that is
ideally.
really
Yeah, ideally.
a great goal. So yeah.
So yeah, I guess just kind of like bringing it home. Any final words of wisdom that you would give to like maybe other small business owners that are sitting out there and watching us today?
I think it's the long game. Back to you brought it up. The more I'm in this space, it's a lot of you could hit singles really fast, but understand that you win and you lose. Understand that the cycles of the government are long. Understanding that sometimes you put in 2 years of work, and if you go look at these large captures, it's 2-3 year captures to go win something. So be patient, be focused. And ensure you're doing the right thing, but most importantly, make sure that you bring in that win-win attitude, where make sure every employee in your organization is winning, because if they are, then don't lose focus of why we're in this space, which is for our national security overall.
Right.
And it doesn't matter if you're supporting Treasury or DOT or TSA or the VA, it's all national security if you look at it. Where national security economically, the future of our kids, the future of our country, and the stability of our country. And that's what I mean with national security. So never forget that. So it is holistically a win-win approach. And at the end, our country wins, then we all continue to win.
We all
And
win.
it sounds like you're taking your responsibility of having taxpayer dollars really seriously.
Very important, yeah. I pay for them.
We all do.
We all do.
That's great. Well, so you're hiring. You've heard that here, folks.
Yes,
They're
every
hiring.
day, every day.
All right.
Amazing.
Well, thank you.
you.
Hey, thank you very much.